It's cold, but it's raining, no snow. It's actually all melting. It was actually snowing really hard last night, but I guess it all turned into rain. It actually does look like the sun's coming out in other areas though. And what's going on today? I guess a lot of people are going to be arguing though, because apparently there's going to be restrictions and stuff with crowd gatherings here. People aren't going to be happy about this, huh? After everything they've been through. This one says provincial and regional restrictions. Provincial restrictions are in place to help stop the spread of COVID-19. The restrictions are made by the provincial health officer under the Public Health Act. So here initially they started with that vaccine passport where only if you're fully vaccinated you could go to places, for example, like a sporting event or restaurant. Well, now for this they said New Year's Eve parties are not allowed. Events held on December 31st must be seated events. Standing, mingling, or dancing is not permitted. I think this one will be the most controversial. It says getting together indoors. Indoor personal gatherings are limited to your household plus 10 visitors or one other household. Everyone 12 plus must be fully vaccinated. Now the reason in my mind it doesn't make logical sense is because they say you could still gather for organized events or things like restaurants, for example. So how does that make sense when you're trying to get, I guess, everyday individuals to essentially police each other, saying, oh, if you don't have this or that, then we can't, I don't know, gather together, whereas with those you're allowed to? It doesn't make sense, does it? And I think this one is the funny one here. It says large events with the capacity for 1,000 or more people can only use 50% seated capacity. So you're saying in a stadium with less than 1,000 people, they could jam pack in there? That's fine, but again, you can't gather with, I guess, personal family or something like that, or friends, like more than 10 people or whatever. Someone could try to explain that to me, but that doesn't make logical sense overall. To that, it almost feels like they're just doing it for the sake of doing it, just to say, hey, we're doing something, so to speak. Either way, that probably means more fighting amongst people. Although, in terms of fighting, I guess I was reading this, how, I guess with tensions between people like India and China and so forth, how about this, where a large military drone was intercepted apparently. This one says, interception of drone by BSF troops in Firozpur. Vigilant BSF TPS of BOP-1 of 103 BN BSF detected and downed a drone China made at a distance of 300 MTRS from IB. Wow, look how huge that thing is there, huh? Although I wonder if they just took it down in terms of interference because it doesn't look like it was damaged in any way. But again, big difference between stuff like this versus like a recreational drone, huh? That fear of drones will be around for a while, I guess, just based on what people see in the media and all that. But with that in mind, I think it was kind of interesting reading this one where a lot of people are afraid of sharks, and I read stories before where those who actually document them would say otherwise for the most part. So this is kind of interesting where a guy was actually using drones to document them. It says here, what Jason sees with his drone is taming our fears of sharks. So apparently he publishes videos and stuff on social media of various animals like whales and sharks and all that, and he actually names them. As it says here, he might post a video of dolphins dancing around a clutch of surfers in translucent aquamarine waters, or one of Norman, the pale grey nurse shark gliding through a swarming bait ball of Australian salmon, or a red bathing capped ocean swimmer startling at the sight of Raymond's dark mass beneath him, or a shimmering fever of crown nose rays in formation. Another day, he catches Norman lurking near a pack of swimmers who seem oblivious to his presence. Norman, don't scare people. These humans out on their morning swim, nah, they don't see him. They never do. Grey nurse sharks are generally harmless, but it has to be said, Igleden has also seen great whites at Bondi. So it's kind of like that point that was brought up before, where for a lot of the animals, if they realize whoever it is not a threat, then they'll just be like, ah, whatever, you're not food or whatever, you're not disturbing me, so move on. Whereas a lot of people just have the fear that every single, for example, animal will attack them. So it's great to get that perspective and the insight thanks to a drone with this guy using it, huh? But then that would bring up the point too in terms of fear. There are people who would say, oh, flying a drone up in the air, like super high or whatever, doesn't matter, it'll give the animals a heart attack and all that, so you shouldn't use it in general. It just shows you how much fear dictates what we do in so many ways, even if it's not, I guess, factual or logical based, huh? can't believe this is real. This sign they made for the barge is a joke. Alright, see you guys later.